Hello, my friend. This is Clyde. Break camp and advance. The Jewish people were wandering in this barren piece of real estate for 40 years. I'm talking about the journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. They had misbehaved, believed the negative reports that they could not conquer Canaan, and they did not see a way forward. So God made them wander around in the wilderness for 40 long years. But listen to this. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses called a big rally of everybody to make an announcement. They had no clue what the brilliant leader was going to say, so the air must have been thick with suspense. I'll just quote the opening line of Moses' great speech. The Lord our God said to us at Horeb, "You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Break camp and advance into the hills." Towards the end of the speech, this is what Moses said. "See, I have given you this land. Go in and take possession of the land the Lord swore he would give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants after them." That was Deuteronomy 1, 6-8. I shared all of that just because I want you to know where the words of our title came from. Break camp and advance. Today, that's what we're being called to do. In other words, it is time we move forward. It is time to move away from the regular things of our Christian experience and move into greater and more exciting things in God, as it is time for a stronger relationship with God. Break camp and advance. Now come with me over to the New Testament. And this might be a familiar passage to you, but that is going to be like Moses' great speech that day to the Jewish people. Listen to his powerful statement. "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. Trust me when I tell you that we are being called to a similar move like Moses called on those people to do. Here the writer Paul is saying to us, in 2024, there is something that we have not been doing, and it is time for us to do so. This move is gigantic. This move is monumental. You are being called to make this important move because you have experienced God's mercy up until now. I don't want to stretch the comparison, but those Jewish people, they were wandering around the mountains for 40 years, and a large number of them died, and still they were a great nation. Now here's the critical similarity. For 40 years, they were at the mercy of God because he could have abandoned them. He could have caused them all to die. But to those who lived to hear that long-awaited message from God, they were alive because of God's mercy. Paul is saying to us that we have experienced God's mercy since the day we got saved. Regardless of how long you have been a Christian, you have experienced God's great mercy. And against that background, we are being called to do something different. We are going to present ourselves as a sacrifice. A sacrifice is a high price to pay for some greater good. Paul is saying to all of us, you've been having a good run as a Christian, but it is time to go higher. And the move to a higher level of this relationship is a sacrifice. He's saying to us, present our bodies or present ourselves as a sacrifice. It's a way of saying to us, give up control of your life and let God be in total control of you. This will please God, and not because he wants us to have boring Christian lives. Rather, he is saying the sacrifice that you will make is that you are being called to give up cruising in the battle. This is going to take effort. This is going to challenge you to get rid of some things that we have been embracing and become more mature in our Christian life. A sacrifice is tough, but it is necessary in order to enjoy a greater level of our relationship with God. For some of us, it might mean stop from engaging in some worldly activities, some ugly ones and some mild ones. You know what I'm talking about. Let's just leave it there as giving up some sinful or ungodly things in our lives for our greater good. Give up profanity. Give up e-cigarette. Give up pornography. Give it up. Some of us may have to give up the recreational or social drink practice of having alcohol with a meal in the evenings. Mind you, I did not say drunkenness. Give it up for a closer relationship with God. Paul is not joking around as he makes this call to us. Moses was not joking around when he made that announcement to the Jewish people. They were marching to the promised land, and it has been a nightmare experience up until now. They had to bury bodies of loved ones. They had water problems, and the biggest one was when they did not have food. God provided them with manna sent directly from heaven. God provided them with water at some points. Mercy. God has provided us with mercy sent directly from above. Now God is saying that it is not the rest stop for you and me in our relationship with God. Rather, this sacrifice of presenting you to God is to make stronger, better, and more devoted Christian of each of us. I feel that it's a good point to break shop in our conversation. But let me say this. This experience as a Christian calls on us to give up and take on. We get rid of anything sinful that is in our lives, especially the sins that we seem to enjoy. Now let us break camp and advance to a better relationship with God. To be continued.